Welcome back, children. So shall we continue lesson number 7 today? So quickly we shall have a recap. The lesson is packing. It's an extract taken from 3 Men in Boat, written by Jerome K. Jerome. And please look at even the characters also. Never you forget. 4 characters together. Jerome K. Jerome, he himself is the narrator. Then is Harris, his friend. Then George, another friend. And also we have a funny character. It's a dog. It's Montmorency, another character which we haven't come across as of now. So all these 3 friends have planned to go on a tour in a boat. That is, we can call it as they plan to make it on sailing, right? So then who had put forward his word that he would take care of the whole of packing? It was our narrator, that is Jerome K. Jerome. He said that, "You need not bother, I shall completely take care of the whole of packing." Then this word, as soon as he said, immediately his friends accepted because they did not put in their physical effort, right? Then both of them had absolutely placed themselves so happily, taking a lot of relaxation. So now let's move further. What happens? Paragraph 3, page number 83. So now the narrator is sharing his past experience, that is his flashback, we can call it as. "I lived with a man once who used to make me mad that way." And he says that before this we have already learned that he cannot see the people irritating me sitting without any work, especially when Jerome works. He said that, right, children? So he says that I lived with a man before who used to make me mad that way. So we need to assume that whereas Jerome was made to work so much, and the other person who made Jerome mad used to sit simply without any work. He would loll on the sofa. L-O-L-L. Loll is nothing but laying, comfortably relaxing position. You know, it's lying on. It's leaning back the sofa and watch me doing things by the hour together. So what was his experience staying with that man he was telling about? Whereas Jerome was given a lot of work to do it, and the other man used to observe and monitor Jerome's work. So now we understand that why is he wanting even his friends to be away where Jerome works. Because he would like to see how the people sit happily without working, and he would like to experience, and whether he would also be irritated or not, he would like to just check. Then he said it did him real good to look on at me messing about. Then he said that even the mother person, he used to comment looking at Jerome packing all the things and doing many of the things, and what are the works are being given to him, saying that I really amazed by looking at you the way you do it, because you mess up everything. Messing in the sense like causing a lot of confusion, putting all the things here and there, like you make all the things scattered here and there. It's so messy. So he says that you do all the things so messy, and I really like to look at you. Now I'm not like that. I can't sit still and see another man slaving and working. So Jerome is saying that no, I'm not like that person who made me work and who sat comfortably commenting negative about me. So I'm not like that person, you know. I would like to really work, and I can't see somebody doing slaving and hard work. Slaving is continuous work, continuous hard work. So Jerome is saying that I simply cannot sit idle, and I cannot really watch others working, because I also want to extend my helping hand. I want to get up and superintend. So there is a word, superintend. Superintend is nothing but to supervise, to monitor the things, whether everything is going on rightly or not. So he says, children, you need to understand. Already I told you that he always would like to be the boss of the job. He would like to head the work, isn't it? So here he has come up with his idea. He says that as I don't want to simply sit, but I would like to superintend the work. I would like to supervise the work. I would like to see whether everything is going on correctly or not. I would like to execute the work. I would like to watch whether the people are working correctly or not, whether the work is being done or not. And walk around with my hands in my pockets. So see the posture, putting his both the hands in the pockets, you know, like in a royal way. He would like to just walk here and there, and he would like to check whether the work is being done or not. So try to understand his attitude, children, here. Jerome does not want to work hard. He would like to see others working hard, whereas he would like to monitor their work. He would like to only check whether they are doing the work or not, and tell him what to do. It is my energetic nature. I can't help it. So he says that he's again appreciating himself. That's nothing wrong. because supervising something, monitoring something is also a skill which I do possess it, I have it. So there is nothing wrong. I love to do it and it's my nature because I'm so energetic to see the work being done. However, I did not say anything but started the packing. It seemed a longer job than I had thought it was going to be, but I got the bag finished at last and I sat on it and strapped it. Please underline this last sentence, children. So, however, like he's saying to himself, so it took so long for him to pack the whole of the thing in a very big suitcase. He finished the packing and whatever and how long it would take, he thought it took more than that what he had already planned. But finally he had completed. So usually this scene you would be seeing at your home also. Once the whole packing is done, when you want to close the zips of the suitcase, it won't be possible. Sometimes what do? Like your parents, they ask you, they call you, they ask you to sit on that so that it can be closed. So here what did Jerome do? Jerome, he himself sat on the suitcase to put the zips closed. Then immediately what happened? Hey, aren't you going to put the boots in? Said Harris. Then it was Harris to immediately ask him, saying that he was reminding him, oh, how come you're just closing it? Are you not planning to put the boots inside, the shoes inside? Then I looked around and found I had forgotten them. Then Jerome could realize that, I had forgotten to pack the boots. He had forgotten. He took so long time. He spent lot of time, hours together, and he completely even closed it by sitting on it also. And now somebody comes and tells that, I've forgotten to pack that. Are not you taking it? And he said, yes, I have forgotten. That's just like Harris. He could not have said a word until I had got the bag shut and strapped. Of course, and George laughed. One of those irritating, senseless laughs of his. They do make me so wild. So as soon as he heard Harris reminding him to pack even the boots, then immediately he realized that yes, it was his mistake that he has forgotten to pack the boots, and immediately he has again opened it and he put the boots. And as this process was going on, as Jerome was realizing his mistake and he was reopening it and putting the boots in, then George, as he was relaxing in the easy chair, he laughed at Jerome, which was an irritating act for Jerome. He was just feeling that, how come my friend does? I know that he does it. So due to which I become wild. He says that due to my friend's laughter, which is a silly laughter, simply they laugh at me, they make me to behave wild. Then what did he do? I opened the bag completely, packed the boots in, and then just as I was going to close it, a horrible idea occurred to me. Then as he was thinking everything, then he opened it again, put it everything inside, like whatever he has forgotten, that is the set of boots. Then as he was about to close it, then a horrible idea struck to his mind. What is that horrible idea? Let's see. Had I packed my toothbrush? Look at this funny, and usually it happens with all of us children. Oh my God, did I pack my toothbrush or not? Because I don't know how it is, but I never do know where I have packed my toothbrush. So Jerome says that always it happens with him. That once the final packing is done, then usually he realizes that he has not packed his toothbrush. And he cannot even reason it out, and he says that I don't know why does it happen to me, but it always happens. And he says about something so funny about it, toothbrush. Now let's see. My toothbrush is a thing that haunts me when I am traveling. Haunts in the sense, again and again it reminds him by striking to his mind. It follows him always. So, because that is something which he always forgets, whenever he packs before he goes to the tour and all. So that's how immediately it pricks him always. Whenever he sits for the packing, immediately the horrifying idea comes to his mind that whether he has forgotten his toothbrush packing or not. Then he says that I'm traveling and makes my life a misery. So he's calling this as a misery, Sometimes true children, there are silly things we may call them as, but you may not really, find them as soon as you reach to your destination. Or while you journey also, then you will need to manage with something else unwillingly. So he says that it's a misery because he had already experienced many a times before forgetting his toothbrush. I dream that I haven't packed it. See children, how that's the reason why he's calling it as a haunting. So even he dreams also, when he sleeps happily also, he dreams only about his toothbrush. And always like nightmare, he gets the dream like where he would see that he has traveled so happily everywhere, and as soon as he thought of just brushing, he would not find his toothbrush. Then he realizes that he has forgotten his toothbrush. So that's the reason he's calling it as misery of his life. And wake up in a cold perspiration and get out of bed and hunt for it. Then perspiration is nothing but it's a process of sweating out. Whenever you work very hard, whenever you have your physical exercise done and all, you will sweat out, right? So then as soon as in the very morning when he unpacks his own things, then when he does not find his toothbrush, then he would like to walk around, move around, run around to search his toothbrush. Whereas he would be sweating a lot. And in the morning I pack it before I have used it. And I have to unpack again to get it. And it is always the last thing I turn out of the bag, and then I repack and forget it. And I have to rush upstairs for it at the last moment and carry it to the railway station wrapped up in my pocket handkerchief. So he's continuing with his previous experiences. He says that whenever he does the whole packing done, then he realizes and remembers that he has not packed his toothbrush, and then again he needs to run to his bedroom, and where he needs to get the toothbrush back. Then as their time won't be permitting him to again open it, because the closing also is very big problem for his suitcase, as already we have learnt about, right? Then what would he do? He would be wrapping his toothbrush in his handkerchief. He would be wrapping it in a handkerchief and put it in his coat pocket. How funny, right, children? To catch the train or wherever, however he used to go on a tour. Of course, I had to turn every mortal thing out now, and of course I could not find it. So every mortal thing, in the sense all the ordinary things. Now he is again coming back to the present and saying that now to check whether I put my toothbrush inside or not, what would I need to do it? I would need to again unpack everything. I would need to bring out everything what is already packed in to check whether I put my toothbrush in or not. I rummaged the things up into much the same state. So rummaged in the sense, what did he do? The way he had to unpack all the things, like in a very rough manner, like in a very crazy manner, where he had to take everything very carelessly. And he must have been before the world was created, and when cows reigned. So now he calls himself, he's calling himself that he is the one who has taken the patent right of creating the confusion. So after packing the whole thing, Harris reminded him that he hadn't packed his boots. Then again he opened and he put them back. Once he was about to close the suitcase, then something struck to his mind. Wild idea that he might have not kept his toothbrush there. Then again he had to unpack everything. Unpack in the sense like he had to empty the whole suitcase once again. So while he was doing that process, he caused a lot of chaos in the sense he is the one to take the patent. He has the every right to make the confusion to be caused. So Jerome was the very one reason for causing all the confusions. So Jerome himself was causing all the confusions because he got a wild idea, a thought that he might have not packed his toothbrush. Of course, I found George and Harris 18 times over, but I could not find my own. See, children, how funny he says. When he was searching for his own toothbrush, he could not find his own toothbrush, but he could find George and Harris' toothbrush many a times. Whenever we do it, we keep on moving up and down all the things, and we keep on finding the same things what are kept there. What is not kept over there, how can we find it? That's what is happening with Jerome also. He says that when I'm searching for my toothbrush, I'm able to find George and also Harris, that too 18 times, as if he has really counted. He's just numbering it to create humor here. But I could not find my own. I put the things back one by one and held everything up and shook it. Then what did he do? Like a sack, the rice sacks and all, you will see it. Similarly, he put all the things inside and he started shaking it to set the things inside, right? So that he can sit on it and again close it. Then I found it inside a boot. I repacked once more. Then I found it inside a boot. I repacked once more. Then where did he find his toothbrush, children? He found his toothbrush in one of the boots. How funny. So silly person he is, we understand by this now. Does anybody keep the toothbrush in a boot? But he's such a person who kept his toothbrush in his boot, and then again he had to put it inside. When I had finished, what work is finished here? He finished packing. George asked if the soap was in. Then George, he was the one to, like, he or Harris, they would only remind Jerome whether everything is packed or not, because it was a whole responsibility taken by Jerome, he himself, right, children? So they said that, could you have just pack even the soap as well? I said I did not care a hand whether the soap was in or whether it wasn't, and I slammed the bag shut and strapped it. Then he said that, come on, I did not bother about it whether there is soap packed or not, because it's not an important thing, I feel. So as he was saying this, he immediately sat on that and he closed it as well. And I found that I had packed my spectacles in it. So see the thing here. So carelessly he responded to George, saying that if at all there is no soap also, no need to worry. I haven't checked whether I packed it inside or not. It might have already been packed in. So all these things he was saying that, and he just closed it. After closing the suitcase again, what did he recollect? He recollected that, oh my God, I have forgotten my spectacles in. So as he was packing, he just kept his spectacles, which are needed for his sight to be seen. Then those spectacles are kept inside and had to reopen it. Again the story started. So again he had to open the suitcase to take his spectacles out. It got shut up finally at 10:05 p.m. Shut up in the sense completely, the whole of silly process of packing is done by 10 o'clock in the night. 5 minutes past 10 o'clock in the night. Finally he completed. And then there remained the hampers to do it. Harris said that we should be wanting to start in less than 12 hours time, and thought that he and George had better to do the rest, and I agreed, and I sat down and they had a go. Hampers are nothing but large baskets for carrying food. Then they said that finally our packing is done. Now we need not really bother. We only need to bother to pack the hampers, the bags, the baskets, open baskets. So only open baskets where we need to put all the food stuff and all, eating stuff and all in that. So we are almost done. Then they said that fine, we will do it. Better you go, rest. They began in a light-hearted spirit, evidently intending to show me how to do it. Because packing and all, Jerome had taken care. So now George and Harris, what did they say to Jerome? They said that already you have done enough of packing the bag. Now you please give us the chance to pack the hampers. Let us pack the food in the hampers. So till now we have done half of the paragraph 8, and we shall continue in the next session, children. So now in this today's session, we have come to know the silly process of packing by Jerome. He packed it and he put it and he completely closed it. Then Harris reminded him that boots were not kept inside. Then he opened, he put the boots in. As he was putting in, he was laughed at, right? Then he was irritated. Then again he got an idea whether he packed his toothbrush or not. Again he had to reopen, he had to check up and down making the things, and he made it a messy thing there. Then he found his toothbrush where? He found it in one of the boots finally. Then everything is done. Then George asked whether the soap is kept inside or not. So carelessly, very carelessly, Jerome said that, no, I don't need to bother. Whether it's there or not, it might be there. Then he realized after the final packing that he has forgotten his spectacles in the suitcase. Then he had to take it. Finally, by 5 minutes past 10 o'clock, he finished his packing. Therein, his friends George and Harris said that, now it's time for you to rest for some while. We shall take care of packing of the food stuff. So how funny things happen now when it comes to the food. Let's see in the next session, children. So hopefully, please attempt all the questions given in the worksheets. And let's wait in the next session to have much more entertainment and funny elements to be seen. This is Vijaya signing in. Bye-bye.